introduce you to Dr. Shilpi Gupta, and she is the founder of the Curious and Creative Lab, which is an organization that embodies a passion for blending curiosity and creativity. At the heart of her mission is the belief that science should be communicated efficiently and effectively, yet in a simple and fun way, enabling individuals to understand the language of the body and live better, happier lives. Through the Curious and Creative Lab, Dr. Gupta strives to bridge the gap between scientific knowledge and the public, and she strives to make complex concepts accessible, ensuring that science is not intimidating, but rather a fascinating journey of discovery. And we're looking forward to hearing about brain health today. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Gupta.
Thank you, Sequoia. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for the kind introduction. So, welcome to the Healthy Aging webinar series, a collaboration between the Civic Center Resource Library and Curious and Creative Lab. This webinar series focuses on science-backed strategies to improve physical and mental health. And thank you for joining us today. We are excited to provide an enjoyable and informative learning experience for everyone. Sequoia did a great job in introducing me, but I just want to take a moment here and tell you how you can connect with me. This is my website, curiousandcreativelab.ca, and I encourage everyone to visit the website where you can find more information about the organization, join the free newsletters, and stay connected. It's a fantastic way to embark on a journey of learning and discovery together. So the Healthy Aging webinar series consists of 5 carefully curated parts with the understanding that good health is the foundation of happiness. And as we progress through life, both our body and mind undergo transformations. While certain functions may naturally decline, there is a misconception that we have limited control over them. This series aims to debunk that notion. We initiated the series with a talk on sleep and rest, introducing the Sleep Toolkit. This toolkit comprises scientifically backed behavioral modification techniques and practical tools. So, behavioral modifications are lifestyle changes in areas such as nutrition, exercise, and sleep, and we can achieve significant improvement by changing these. So, sleep serves as the foundation of overall health, and by incorporating the sleep tools which were discussed in Talk 1, you will not only experience better sleep, but you may also notice enhancements in memory and mood. And in today's talk, we will delve into the topic of brain health. And in the upcoming weeks, we have fascinating sessions planned. We will discuss mobility, fall prevention, explore ways to cultivate emotional and mental resilience, and then we will end the session webinar series with a talk on gut health. So, what to expect in today's talk? This talk is divided into 4 sections. In first part, we will understand all about brain health, the science of brain health. And then in the part 2, we will ask the question, what is normal and not normal cognitive decline? And when you should be worried and when you should talk to your physician. The part 3 is the most important part of this talk, where I will be discussing about brain health enhancement strategies, where I will discuss with you the toolkit, the brain health toolkit. And we will devote 15 minutes for Q&A at the end. And just if I'm going fast, you can interrupt me. You can ask me again to repeat the things. Or if you have questions in between, you can write in the chat or you can interrupt. But we will have a dedicated Q&A at the end. So let's understand what we mean by brain health. So brain health refers to the overall state of well-being and functioning of the brain throughout a person's life. It involves various aspects, including how we think and process information, which comes under the umbrella of cognitive, how we feel, emotional well-being, and how we move and coordinate our body, which is our motor functions. So think of brain health as a dynamic and ever-changing state that is influenced by both physical and mental processes. and it is not fixed condition, but can vary over time. But just like our physical health, we can take measures to support and improve our health, our brain health. And so in this talk, we will focus on the cognitive ability and discuss ways to optimize cognition. And in the upcoming talk, we will talk about the emotional resilience and the motor functions in the fall prevention. So in this slide, I will talk more about the components of cognitive ability. It refers to a person's mental capacity to perceive, process, and understand and apply information. It involves various mental processes such as attention, memory, problem solving, reasoning, and decision making. Think of cognitive abilities as the skills and abilities our brain uses to think, learn, and make sense of the world around us. These abilities allow us to process and understand information, solve problems, remember things, and make decisions. But it's important to note that cognitive abilities can vary among individuals. Factors such as genetics, environment, education, and overall brain health can influence cognitive abilities. So, before going into this cognitive abilities, understand the toolkit, let's understand more about your brain. So, this is the picture of a real brain, and this is a pic, uh, just a description of it, a representation of it. So, your brain is seated up there in top of the head, and then it follows through the spinal cord, and there are the spinal nerves which are connected to all of the organs of your body. So, if we look at the brain, it is divided into different regions. And there are two hemispheres, left and right hemisphere of the brain, which talk to each other, which do the task together. And so these regions are responsible for various cognitive, emotional, motor processes. For example, the frontal lobe, which is the front part of the brain, is responsible for decision making and problem solving. The temporal lobe, which is situated right both the sides of your, just above the ear, is important for hearing and memory. And the motor cortex controls voluntary movements. So, as I mentioned, brain is divided into two hemispheres, left and right, which are connected by a bundle of nerves called callosum. Uh, not to remember that, but each hemisphere has unique functions and is involved in different aspects of cognition and perception. So, the interesting part here is your brain is made up of approximately 75% water. Water is essential for maintaining the brain's hydration and facilitating various biochemical reactions. So just remember this point, and we will discuss about this later in the tools. And the other component which is important is the structural fat. So the brain is water and structural fat. But this fat is different from the fat which you have on your abdomen. So it's not the normal fat, it's the structural fat, and it is primarily in the form of lipids. So, brain is also 3 grams in weight, but it consumes approximately 15 to 20% of the energy which you are consuming. Like your food, whatever, 10 to 15% energy goes into feeding the brain. So it's a very metabolically demanding organ. So when, as we talk about the cognition, the main aspect of cognition is memory. So let's learn a little bit more about how our brain processes this memory. So this is the information processing model of memory. So imagine your brain as a super smart librarian. It stores information and helps you to retrieve it when you need it. So memory involves 3 stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval. So encoding is when the librarian takes a book and puts it on a shelf with a label. Your brain takes in information through your senses, like seeing, hearing, or feeling something, and turns it into a format that it can store. Now, storage is now the librarian places the book on a shelf in the library. Your brain stores information in different areas like short term memory, like a sticky note for quick reminders, and long-term memory, like a book in the library's collection. And then there is retrieval. When you need to find that book, the librarian helps you to locate it. Your brain brings back the information from storage so you can use it. So, this is how the memory is formed in the brain. So, this was in the librarian talk, right? It is in simple language, but what it looks inside the brain, it is something like this. These are neurons, and neuron is the basic unit of your brain. And here you can see these two neurons are talking to each other. This happens when you are forming memory in your brain. Like when you are listening to me, in your brain, several of these neurons are firing, and they are forming new connections. As you are learning new things, these neurons are forming new connections and storing it as a memory. And if you are paying more attention, then the connections will be more stronger. And if you are not, if you are here but thinking about something else, so you are not making that neuronal connections. So this is how we make connections. So uh, neurons are nerve cells, they are the fundamental units, and we have billions of these neurons in our brain. And you will be surprised to know that in a typical adult human brain, there are about 85 billion neurons, and that and about 10 quadrillion connections. That is one followed by 16 zeros. So that many connections we have in our brain, and these connections are forming every time. Like as I mentioned, you are hearing me, you are forming these brain connections, and in your brain, you are forming these neuronal connections. The important thing is connections between these neurons get stronger or weaker depending on how often you are exposed to the event. So, our brain has different regions to store different types of memory. This is very interesting. So, our working memory is stored in the prefrontal cortex, which is our decision making center. Then, our hippocampus, which is another memory center, stores our spatial memory. So, where the things are located in space, it's stored in this region. And then we have something whenever there are emotions triggered by an event, that is where amygdala stores the memory of that emotions. So we like this, we have different regions of the brain where different kinds of memories are stored. So I think this will give you an idea of how our brain functions and how our brain is forming memory. And now let's go into the second part where we see how this is changing as we are aging. So, as we are aging, our brain goes through a natural process of change. And understanding these changes can help us appreciate the importance of practicing memory enhancing techniques. And let me take you through these changes. So, there are positive changes. There are not always negative changes, but there are also positive changes with age, right? We should focus on the both. So, first slide is about that. So, we have more extensive vocabularies, greater knowledge of the depth of meaning of words as compared to our younger self, and then lifetime of accumulated knowledge and experiences. We have improved perspective taking, better problem solving through experiences. So these are all the positive and good things which we accumulate through our life experiences. But then there are also structural changes which happens, and these are normal changes, and they happen to meet the challenges set by every life stage. So in this we have, this is what the age, and this is the percentage of your brain. So here, when we are 6 months old, we are at 100% of our brain is in volume. And then as we progress, just look at this 40 year. From here, we see the major changes happening. A slight gradual decline. The major changes happens after your 65 year of age, 60 to 65. Then the major changes happen. But the changes starts very early at 40 years of age. So brain begins to structurally deteriorate as early as age 30. After age 40, the hippocampus, the main memory center, shrinks by about 0.5% per year. And then there is decline of neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are the chemical messengers which are needed by neurons to communicate with other neurons. So with age, these neurotransmitters also decline. Both these factors leads to changes in neuron connectivity and therefore changes how we store and retrieve memory. And this makes learning a little bit difficult, and it takes more time to learn new things as we age, and these are normal changes. Okay, so the shrinkage can be variable among individuals, and it depends upon a lot of things like your environment, your genetic predisposition, your lifestyle choices, and all that. Now, look at this graph. This graph will tell you how this is the green line, will tell you how the normal aging happens. And when you have MCI, which is mild cognitive impairment, this graph goes like this. This is your cognitive ability here on this graph. And so this is when dementia or different kind of dementia will happen, then the cognitive decline decreases. But then you can see this is also an interesting curve, right? This line which goes straight, where these are called super agers. So they defy all the normal aging decline. Their brain capacity is similar to as an adult, and there are some genetically they are more inclined to be super ager, or their lifestyle changes, the lifestyle which they have adopted makes them super ager. So this is like this is a hopeful slide. So you can go to a super ager. There's no stopping you. You can do that. But before I will introduce you to toolkit, I want to go a little bit into this, how to distinguish between normal versus not normal memory decline. So this graph will tell you, this chart will tell you a little bit. On this side, we have normal aging, and on this side, we have potential signs of cognitive decline. And when we see these signs in our family member or within, like if we are going through this, it's a time to talk to your physician about it, and you can get treatments around it. So if you are getting lost in familiar surroundings, that's a red flag. And having difficulty remembering important details of recent events, and then difficulty following the plot of a television program or a book because of memory problems, and then memory problems that are worse than those of people at your same age. This is a wider thing, but you understand the concept. So misplacing items and being unable to relocate them later. So these are the potential signs. But see, as we age, we tend to misplace items, and but we later recall them. But if you are not able to relocate them, like in hours or in days, then it becomes a problem. But we misplace things, we forget names, we forget the movie names or whatever. But these are normal. But if you are not able to relocate it anytime sooner, like 1 day 2 day, then it's a problem. So now let's go into the third section, which is the brain health toolkit. And here I will discuss behavioral modifications to improve memory. So let me start with this. You are never too old to learn new skills or form new memories. So good point. Why we can do this? Because we have something like neuroplasticity and neuronal pruning, which remains present throughout life. Now let me explain these two things. Neuroplasticity refers to brain's ability to change and adapt throughout a person's life. It involves the brain's ability to reorganize its structure, form new neural connections, and modify existing connections in response to experiences, learning, and environmental factors. And neuron pruning is synaptic pruning. Synapse is when the two neurons are talking to each other. And when the two neurons are talking to each other, they are forming memory. They are storing the memory. So it is a natural process, and it occurs a lot when we are developing. So when our brain is developing, it is very active during that time. But as we get age, this process declines, but it is there. So um, the brain will selectively strengthen important connections while eliminating weaker or redundant ones. So, this process helps refine neural circuits and optimize the efficacy of brain functions. And neuron pruning happens mostly when we are sleeping. So, that's why sleep is very important aspect for our overall health, because it also helps in our memory and cleansing of our brain. So, needing the that extra time to learn a new skill is normal as we age. So you should not be bothered about that I'm taking so much time. It's just normal. You will learn new things. The first and foremost aspect of this memory toolkit is keep learning, because this learning process, like you all are here, that's the first step you have taken to keep your learning journey going. So it doesn't stop when we have completed our education. Your learning process goes on as we are evolving, we are learning new experiences, and that's what keeps our brain healthy. Because our brain wants to do complex tasks, our brain wants to make decisions. And if you are not giving challenges to your brain will get idle. Your brain will not spend any energy because it has learned things. Now there's nothing to learn, so it will not spend energies, and neuronal pruning will happen. So the connections which are not strong will get vanished from there, will get washed off. So your less neurons means less cognitive ability. More neurons, more connections, more stronger your neuronal functions, your cognitive functions. So keep on learning and challenge your brain with new things. So there is this saying in neurobiology is that neurons that fire together wire together. This means that when two events happen at the same time, those neurons involved in the experience fire together. So learn new things and keep on exploring new experiences. The second thing is exercise. So it's like something you have heard many times, exercise is good. But let me tell you why exercise is good. So exercise, I will call exercise as a superhero for your brain. When you engage in physical activity, it increases blood flow and oxygen to your brain, which is essential for optimal cognitive function. And additionally, exercise stimulates the release of chemicals like neurotransmitters and growth factors, which promotes the growth of new neurons and strengthen existing connections. And this helps to improve memory and enhance the brain's ability to retain information. So think of exercise as a fun and powerful way to give your memory a boost, right? But exercise doesn't mean that you have to join a club membership or a gym membership and do exercise like that. No, you can just do a brisk walking, and that is exercise. So try to do 10 minutes or 15 minutes of brisk walking every day, uh, if possible outside, during the day, early time of the day when you can get sunlight as well. So that will help your circadian rhythm, and it will also enriches vitamin D. So if you combine these three things together, you are getting a lot from that 15 minute of time. And let me show you this graph. This will tell you that this was a study done. So here you will see 34% people have Alzheimer's mild cognitive because of cognitive decline. But there are other reasons of cognitive decline, and they are metabolic disorders like diabetes or stroke, or your depression, amnesia, alcohol use, or learning disorders. So these all things are preventable, and this can be taken care of. Um, if you are exercising, you are keeping your heart healthy, and your heart is able to pump more blood and oxygen to your brain, and your brain needs all that to work properly. So you are preventing the chances of stroke, you are preventing the chances of vascular cognitive impairment by doing exercises. And by sleeping well, by keeping your circadian rhythm in sync with your body, then you are also helping your neuronal pruning, you are helping in cleansing, and everything is will be good there. So the third point is manage stress. And so, see, I will be giving a lot about stress in the emotional resilience and mental resilience, but stress management is important. So, my motive is here to tell you that you cannot avoid stress, but you have to develop ways to deal with stress. Avoiding stress is not a good solution, and but how to deal with stress is important. The attitude is important. And so we need to learn how to deal with stress, and every person's way can be different. There are different techniques like deep breathing, meditation, relaxation exercises, which can help you to reduce stress. And these are the techniques which you build when you are not stressed. So when you are stressed, you cannot adopt these techniques and find a good solution. So you have to practice them daily to adopt to these techniques. So one of the biggest causes of brain fog is stress, which has an enormous impact on our mental and physical well-being. Get enough sleep. I have talked about sleep a lot in first talk, and I'm talking about sleep again and again because I think sleep is the best thing you can do for your mental and your physical health. I've already told what the sleep, and this cartoon will actually tell you. This is like if sometimes when we have to remember something, we have learned something, it's a good way of sleeping because your brain is then forming what connections what you have learned. So if we have teenagers around, if in your house, tell them to not take a whole night before exam, not wake up, but go to sleep. They will do better on tests. Moving on, we have nutrition. So nutrition is very important. Our brain is made up of water and structural fats. So you will understand that we need structural fats in our diet to help the neurons healthy, and the coating of the neuron is actually myelin, which is made up of structural fat. So there is this book called Keep Your Brain Sharp. And in that book, this author has described, I like his way of describing it. He say that follow the sharp way for your brain health, especially. And so S stands for slash the sugar and stick to your ABCs. And ABCs are your list of foods to consume, which are fresh vegetables, whole berries, fish, seafood, healthy fats, nuts, and seeds. So, whole berries are rich in phytochemicals, antioxidants, which are good to keep the DNA damage to a limit. Then, fish and seafood contain healthy fats, and nuts also have healthy fats and fiber. And then, list of foods to include beans, other legumes, whole fruits, low sugar, low dairy fat, poultry, whole grains. And then list of foods to limit are your fried food, pastries, basically ultra processed foods should be limited. And then H, hydrate smartly. This is very essential. Sometimes we have these headaches because our body is dehydrated. Uh, we are not drinking well, so we will get a headache around evening. So remember to drink smartly. As we age, we have reduced signals of thirst, so it is important to maintain a regular routine of drinking water. Very important in that. And A stands for add more omega-3 fatty acids from dietary sources, and your fishes, nuts, and all that will give you omega-3. R is reduce portions, and P, plan ahead. So follow the sharp way for your brain health. And then this one is very interesting. I like it so much. Is it says that use all your senses. So the more senses you use in learning something, the more of your brain will be involved in retaining the memory. As I was mentioning, where the memory is stored, I mentioned about amygdala, right? So when any event evokes an emotion, our brain tends to keep it for a long term storage. So, whenever you are doing something, whenever you are trying a new food, or you are doing some ceramics work or sculpting or making painting or something, involve yourself completely, and it's a form of meditation. So, you are involving everything. You are actually making yourself like look at things, smell things, hear, feel it, and maybe just when you are feeling it, subconsciously say to you what you are feeling, right? If you are touching something, just say, like, okay, I can feel this subconsciously. You don't have to verbalize, just you feel it. And when you are doing this, your brain is so active, it is making these connections, and that memory will be stored for longer, and your brain is getting an exercise when you are doing it. So try to engage all your senses. And the interesting thing is the hippocampus and the olfactory. So the hippocampus, the one which is storing your memory, and olfactory, the one which is involved in your smelling. These two regions are very neuroplastic. So if you are using your nose well for smelling everything, consciously smell. Take a deep breath and feel what you are smelling. And then you are actually making new neuronal connections, and a good exercise for your brain. And very easy to do, right? You don't have to spend too much on it. You don't have to work too much hard on it. The sixth point is believe in yourself. And if you believe you can improve and you can translate that belief into practice, you have a better chance of keeping your mind sharp. So, this is big. Uh, a study was done. A study was done on middle aged and older individuals. And it was found that this in this study, two groups were divided. The first group was told that as you age, your brain, your cognitive functions decline. So maybe it will be harder for you to do this task ahead. So this was the first group. The second group was told that if you put more time to it, you can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. And then the same task was given to both of this group, age matched, health matched, everything matched. You will be amazed, the second group performed much, much better than the first group. So there is this amazing thing of mind body interaction which we have, like how we are perceiving something, our brain tends to do the same thing for us. So use it for your benefit. If you are going for a new task, just believe it in yourself that you have neuroplasticity, you can do it even if it will take time. So go from that attitude, if to challenge yourself to new things. And repeat what you want to know. So as I mentioned, neurons that wire together fire together. So if you are repeating a task, you are strengthening that connections. So if you are repeating, you are converting that memory from short term to the long term. And so it is a good thing to repeat. And then, but you don't have to repeat it like constantly. Like you have to space it out, because our brain, whenever we are doing new things, our brain is spending energy. And if we don't want to exhaust it, we want to keep it like challenged, we want to keep it amused, and we want the energy to be there, right? We don't want to exhaust it, so we have to space it out when we are repeating things. That's also an important thing to remember. And then economize your brain power. Take advantage of calendars, planners, maps, shopping lists, file folders, so much of thing which we can divert these tasks to other things. And this will help you to free your brain to learn new things. So designate a place at home for your glasses, purse, keys, and other items which you are using often. Don't keep it anywhere. So there it is. You will remember it from where you have kept it. So mental exercises. We have heard about this. Do a crossword daily, and it is a good mental exercise for your brain. But I will go one step further. I will say doing a crossword daily is good, but our brain needs challenges. We can't keep on doing one task and keep our brain healthy. We need to surprise our brain. One day crossword, one day Sudoku, one day maybe play something. Use your you, maybe chess. Play something chess, or play board games, or play cards. So you have to challenge and keep things fun, keep things like amusing, and keep on engaging your brain. And the good part to remember is exercise both parts of your brain. So right part of your brain is mostly involved in non-verbal emotions, visual or spatial. So music and art, more of like the right part is more of like creative part of your brain, and left is more mathematical, more linear, and it thinks in words, it thinks in facts and details. So do certain tasks which are like exercising your left brain and also your right brain. So make things little bit interesting. The 11th point is less sitting, more moving. And there's this new thing which is sitting is like smoking right now. So we are sitting a lot. So, and you don't have to move a lot also. I'm not telling you to just move a lot. 10 minutes, 15 minutes of brisk walking is important for heart health. But then if you are keeping it like after 1 hour, just 1 or 3 minutes of walk, or if you are sitting for 1 hour, just stand up where you are sitting, just stretch your hands and stretch your legs, and just take a round of the room and come back and sit again and start working again. That's all. You don't have to do much. But constant sitting is actually right now the biggest threat to our health, and we should avoid doing that. And this is the last point, which is stay social. And the people who have come to in person in library, that's a good way of connecting and learning and connecting with new people. And online, you are seeing new people, you are uh, connecting with everyone, and it's a great way of doing things. And just 10 minutes of social interaction in a day can help us to keep our brain amused, keep our brain healthy. And so with this, I will end the memory toolkit or the brain health toolkit. And if you want to connect with me, this is my email ID. You can email me. You can ask me questions there. If you have anything interesting to like collaborate or join with on my journey, you can do that. And I thank you, Sequoia, for collaborating with me on this. And I want to express my gratitude to Deborah to introducing me to you. And so that was a starting point from where we met and we discussed about this, and now it's happening. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, I would like to tell that the 10 talks which I have given with uh, Deborah's Institute, the Sinai Health, I have compiled it into a book. And this book will have sleep, brain health, stress, anxiety, gut health, 10 different chapters covering all the science and the memory toolkit. So if the book is ready and few of them have already received it, and so if you want, you can write to me. I will send to you. And yeah, I will end here,
Okay,
and then
Dr.
we
Gupta. Shall
open
we
the
see if there, yeah, let's see if there's any, are you able to stay for a little bit and we'll see if there's any questions?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
How can I
Maybe
get
you,
the,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
how can I get the book?
You can give me your email ID on the chat, or you can write to me. I will send you the book.
I don't use my email that much.
Okay. Mm, because it's a ebook right now, I will be printing it out and making it into a hard copy. But right now it's an ebook, so you need some device to read the book. But
Okay.
Faye, right? Faye, I will
Mhm.
print the book and I can give it to you later.
Okay. I
Yeah,
need the book. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Maybe could you remind us what the topic is for next week when you'll be meeting with us again this same time next week? And what is your topic for week number 3?
Yeah, I will go back to the slide and here. So we have mobility and
Mobility.
where, yeah,
Okay.
and
Mobility
then
next week, and then mental resilience, and
mental
then
resilience the
gut
week
health.
after. Yeah.
We have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yes.
Let's see. Somebody asked, let me just go up, sorry. How often should we take tests to see how far our memory loss, how much memory loss we've had?
Okay, so there, how often, I would say if you are seeing certain red flags which was mentioned, then it's time to talk to your physician, or maybe just 3 months or 6 months. I don't think there is like a definite time line for that. You have to just follow your gut. And sometimes it's important that when we are going through these memory changes, we ourselves cannot recognize it. And so it's important for the family members to point it out to us, or when we are going for a regular checkup, we should be very open to our physician about the things which are changing. It's the thing I believe is not to get worried about these signs, but to notice it, because if you notice it something very early, there are 100% or more than 90% chances of getting it treated. So don't just delay it whenever you see some changes happening in yourself.
Somebody asked if this recording will be available on the YouTube channel, on our library YouTube channel, and most likely it will, unless something goes wrong with technically or something like that. I can't say exactly when it will go on our channel. It depends because it goes through the marketing department, and I'm not always told when it goes up. But yeah, sometimes it takes only a few days. Sometimes it takes up to 6 weeks, but it will appear there eventually. Somebody says, I joined late, and what book is Dr. Shilpi talking about? She's interested. So go ahead,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I have a book on empowering aging. where the 10 talks which I have given, like this, it's compiled there. And I have some book recommendations over there. I have some quizzes for you guys to have, like, okay, my my presentation just I was like too fast with it, so it just got yeah, it ended. But yeah, it's empowering aging, so it has 10 talks. And like the talks which I've given with the in this healthy aging webinar series, so all the talks are compiled there with a lot of more description, because it's not possible to tell everything in this 45 minutes. So I have elaborated the chapters there, and you have checklist, you have quizzes, you have book recommendations. So yeah, it's a fun learning way. It is an ebook right now, and I will be printing it out soon. So yeah.
I've always enjoyed your talks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much right now. When I was talking about brain health, I was thinking what to say, what not to say, because it's so interesting learning about brain.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's every time something.
It's from the heart. And
Sorry?
the heart will tell you what to say. Speak from
Yeah, yeah, it happens like that.
yeah.
Tina asked if she can be sent a copy of the ebook.
Yeah, Tina can, if Tina can send me the email, I can send her the copy,
Sure.
because it's an ebook right now. I will be doing, yeah.
Would you be able to put your email in the
Sure.
chat?
That will be, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I will do
Thanks.
that.
Well, it's been a great, another great session. We'll
Thank
just
you.
wait for Dr. Belton's to come up here. And hopefully you can join us again. The next 3 weeks, we'll be meeting again at the same time on the same day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's actually a good, I think every week when we are meeting, it's a good way of learning, right? So you can remember everything and ask me questions as much as you want. I actually enjoy when people ask questions. So if you have any kind of questions or suggestions, just feel free to interact.
Did we get your email address in the chat? I don't see it yet. Maybe am I missing it?
Okay, it went as a direct message to.
Oh, I don't see it.
Okay, let me do. Okay.
I can send it out too. I don't know if you're going to be sending me the slides again, but I can send out. If you are sending the slides, I can send those out again to the list and include. Oh, there it is.
Now, right?
drs@curiousandcreativelab.ca. So there it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say thank you, and I guess we will say goodbye for now and see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.